When I was in high school, I didn't talk to people much. I was aloof and never pursued romantic endeavors. However, there was one time that I tried. Some of you have probably heard of Wizz. This took place when I was 17 years old, so let me lay out how I got sucked into it. Wizz is definitely an extremely exploitative platform designed to put adolescent minds in an app to date. I made this video as both story time and a reflection of what I think most dating apps exhibit. These apps are designed like TikTok. Scrolling is an addictive activity and it's made its way into the dating scene. They've gamified the system and have further worsened both the quality of finding a partner and your chances of achieving that. But what's worse is that it took advantage of teenagers like me, especially those who were desperate and depressed. During my later half of my senior year of high school, I was grounded and lost access to my PC setup. I didn't really use my phone a lot. It's a boring tool with limited capabilities. At first it was boring. I was voluntarily frying my attention span, but it wasn't really making me happy, so I got reels and all that. Anything that would distract me from what was going on currently in my life. I was desperate to make myself feel happiness. I was clearly depressed. I wanted to scrape the sadness out of me. I succumbed to anything. I didn't care about the long-term consequence of my brain. If it meant giving me a glimmer of happiness during that time, so be it. So this is when I found out about Wizz during my AP Computer Science class. This dude, the only guy that I talked to. Everyone hated this guy, but I was kind of nice to him. You know, he knew I was alone. He recommended me to get the app to hang out with people. Quote unquote, hang out. I peeped his phone and it came to me right away that this was basically just a dating app for teenagers. The way he was swiping through users left and right, I was like, yep, this is a dating app. Why is this allowed for teenagers? He and I were a complete contrast to each other. I was completely aromantic and maybe even a little asexual. I looked away when a girl made eye contact, okay? I wouldn't even voluntarily talk to one. Meanwhile, he was extremely confident in approaching girls and straight up asking most of them, which probably didn't help with his reputation at that time. This was a month or two before I got grounded, so the thought definitely ruminated in the back of my mind. It was already there. At first, I kind of disregarded it as like, oh, it's just something exploitative, right? This Wizz thing, just taking advantage of teenagers with crazy high hormones. But during this time, again, depressed, rotting, I was just desperate. I wanted to feel any sort of stimulation because I was so numbed out. I couldn't feel any sort of happiness. So I went ahead and installed it. I'm reading off of my diaries from 2024, so this is raw, straight from the source. So Wizz was addicting. You see thousands to millions of faces every hour. Each swipe was wasting every second of your life. At first I was afraid to initiate any sort of conversation. I kid you not, right? During this time, the only actual experience I had with conversations was through character AI. Basically, it turned me from zero to hero in writing messages because the AI's conversations felt so real, well, to me at least, because I didn't have any actual people to talk to. So I used my experience in Wizz, right? I used my character AI experience to start rizzing in Wizz. I eventually hit my shot, no response back, then another and more. Eventually, I was able to talk to more people, and several of them actually stuck around. One girl, we'll call her S, was someone I talked to a lot. If I remember, I hit my shot because she said she played video games. We exchanged contact infos, and she was the first girl that showed actual interest in me. She actually talked a lot, replied to my messages. It was a complete twist. It drowned me. Because prior to this, right, I was alone, and a part of me was desperate for a friend, or possibly even a relationship, like all teenagers do. She did flirt a lot, she'd text, and I'd reply. This is the exact line or excerpt from my diary 2 years ago, so I'm currently reading it. So let's see, I put aside my morals, my dignity. I never felt the urge to do it. I still wanted to save it up for someone, but now it doesn't really matter. Which, again, reading this I was probably implying that it was my first time feeling sexual. I don't even care if it's sharing what I look like online to complete strangers. I don't know. Swipe after swipe, just scrolling to a million faces. It's depressing. This is what real desperation looks like. Reading this does make me feel for high school me because I'm 2 years deep in my college career now, and I've forgotten most of this even happened. I had to go through my diaries. So again, I'm going off of memory here, but I got addicted to the swiping and superficial talks. My screen time and pickups were increasing. Despite already having one person to talk to, I'd scroll for more friends to talk to. And even if some only gave short replies, the dopamine hit of someone responding back hit hard. I went from being an aloof person who avoided social interactions and even mostly romantic stuff to someone more outgoing, But in reality, this was just desperation. I kept scrolling, talked to people, helped them with their pre-calc homework, had calls with them. I felt like someone completely different. Now, this was back in May 2024, so AP exams were coming up, and I was busy reading a manga. And when pivotal moments came up in that manga while I was reading, I was too distracted. I was engrossed in texting the people I have met in the app. We started flirting. This was my first time flirting with anyone, and everyone I've talked to on this platform called me different. I was different to other guys since obviously they use this app just to fulfill their lustful desires, but in a way, I was actually using this to fulfill this inner void within me. I was called different by these girls because I'd listen to their problems and trauma dumps, and I would provide advice in a way that they haven't heard before. I would quote-unquote fix them, and this made me aware of their vulnerabilities. These are people that I haven't met before, I'll probably never meet in real life. These are complete strangers, right? And it made each and one of them trust me, someone they had only met online. Again, that's weird, but at least for the other guys, right? They knew that this was just an app for their lust. They were aware. They knew how to distinguish, oh, this is just an app that I feel like going to when I'm feeling weird. But me, I was so immersed in this because this was the only way that I got to talk to people. So I thought I was any better because I was the good and moral person fixing people's problems. But no, I too was committing a sin. It was greed. It made me want more people to talk to. I grew quickly bored of someone, then jumped to another. Now S, right, after a week or two of talking, then confessed to me. I realized something with everyone on this platform while I was talking to other people, and they were all probably doing the same thing. Everyone here probably continued to talk to other people, like I did. You know, they would be spending hours watching ads for coins, some probably paying for the subscription. So no matter how close you get, the itch to scroll one more persists. So, you know, every time I picked up my phone in the morning at this point, I'd go to Wizz for new matches, then return to the people I was already talking to. Then I realized it's probably worse for them because they're girls, which are statistically more likely to receive texts from men. The average girl there would probably receive at least 100. This entire ordeal was distracting me from studying for AP Calculus. It was addictive. No matter how many friends or relationships you obtained from it, you desired for more. This is the epitome of greed, exploiting the feeble minds of teenagers like me. Now, the real deal breaker for me was when it was my birthday. You're gonna love this one. I was at Chili's with my parents. It was something personal because it's my birthday. I just wanted to chill with my parents. And I kid you not, the hostess was one of the girls I had been talking with for weeks on the app. Now, my keen eye suddenly caught on to her. I realized, wait, this is that person I've been talking to. I tried hiding my face from her. I rushed to finish my food. I started getting replies along the lines of like, there's someone here that looks similar to you. She was the, classic Koreaboo, and she only liked me because I was Asian. I quickly tried to think of a way for me and my parents to get out without having to go through the main door. I rushed him like, Mom, Dad, you gotta eat faster. And then you're like, what's wrong, right? It's your birthday, let's enjoy it. I tried to get him out some way that didn't have to involve going through the main door because she was there, standing. She's the hostess. But I realized I had no other option. So I pretty much zoomed to the main door, which in hindsight probably made me way more suspicious. That was definitely the real wake-up call for me to get the heck out of that app, though. I had to block her. This realization made me want to stop. I had to find a way. So I ended things off with everyone I had, met in that app one by one. I grew more dry, stopped listening. I tried to make it as smooth as possible. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but this was for the good of everyone. I just hoped that they would realize the same thing that I did. The hard part came with S, right? I had to find something that would make me voluntarily detach, because at this point, this was my first person that I've gotten quite attached to, right? It was my first relationship, although online. Prior to this, I have never been in a relationship. I never tried in middle school, and when everyone was getting into relationships during sophomore year, I didn't really think of anyone who I liked. The group of friends that I was with asked me, who was I interested in? I just called like the name of someone I was close to during 8th grade. I never had feelings for this person, right? Or anyone in school. I was then provoked by the group to go on a date with that person I mentioned, since they've never heard me express affection towards anyone before. So they were brimming with excitement. They prepared a date for me and was forced to get into an artificially forced date with someone I've barely talked to since 8th grade. But yeah, I'm completely lacking in the romantic field, at least during this time. So I felt behind compared to others, right? Both romantically and socially. So it definitely did cross my mind to try and get into into a relationship to fit in with others. But with S, right, this is a complete stranger I had just met on Wizz. She talked about her past boyfriend, how long they lasted, and again, my usual tendency to want to help and fix others naturally came in. I wanted to fix a relationship. I told her that they had a special thing going on. The guilt of being chosen seeped in. Like, why me? Why not someone else? No, I wanted to solve their relationship. It's like I was detached from her, like an outside participant who wanted a good ending for everybody else but me. I told her that she was better off without me, so I blocked her. Then came a barrage of messages and phone calls from multiple numbers begging me to unblock her. She messaged me, she called me, but I blocked 1 or 2, then another 4 came back up. Here are screenshots that I could find during that time. She was persistent on getting me back, apologizing for confessing, even though that was never the problem, right? It wasn't her fault. Even if it worked out between us, she would probably keep on using the app because, you know, there's that itch to find more. Eventually, I did unblock her and decided to just be honest with how I felt with everything. I expressed how I wasn't any different, if not worse, from the guys that texted her. All I was good for was listening to her problems. To properly end things off, I told her to get rid of Wizz for her own good. I glanced if she was still active on the app because you can see if the users on the app have that little green thing if they're active. Yeah, for the next few days, I checked and I had realized that she didn't delete the app. She was still using it. She kept it. So, you know, at that point I was like, I'm just gonna give up, right? I just ghosted her. Said my goodbyes to everyone, and I deleted my account. It's been 2 years since I've used any sort of dating app, well, specifically Wizz in this case. However, I still see that it's, you know, a lucrative business. It's making money and it's affecting others. But I just hope that my story, especially when I was a teenager, would shed light on how destructive these platforms are. I think it's even worse for apps actually designed for adults because grown-ups actually have money, and with desperation, they'll do anything to get on a date. So, this is a story I've been withholding for 2 years, right? I just want to conclude that online dating apps are exploitative. They take advantage of our loneliness. It's devolved our perception of love. Love is precious, a human trait that shall never be stripped to something so soulless. Machines have already taken many of our abilities, such as the agency to pick what we want to see. Each and one of us is capable of love, and it's something that we shouldn't let it control for us. It's only exacerbated gender wars and hookup culture. Online dating capitalizes on us using their platform. They don't actually want us to achieve the end goal of finding a date or a partner. They want us hooked, so they'll keep us swiping, psychologically making us wanting more. Someone better. Just one more swipe and you'll find your future partner. Nowadays, we fantasize everything from social media, distorting our perception of regular people, showing what you only want them to see, and it's got into the dating scene, deluding us to thinking that there's a Prince Charming creeping at any moment. It's made our expectations higher, but in reality, it's only delivered nothing.